This is Lawrence D. Adams. We are live right now. Join us today as we talk about authenticity in the game. This is when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. Join us today for an excellent breakdown of not being a fake in the game. You need to be authentic in everything that you do. That means be true to who you are. This is Lawrence D. Adams. Join us now as we go into this live broadcast. Let's get it. Shout out to everyone. This is Lawrence D. Adams. I am live today. Let's get it popping and going. What's going on, Deliska? What's going on, everybody? This is Lawrence D. Adams. We are live right now. Did I get everything going? I don't think something is not on. Let me find out what's not on. Something is not on in the settings, and I don't like that. Let's see. We find out what it is. Okay, there it is. Make sure it's on because I don't recognize it. Okay, boom, there it is. That's what I was looking for. Now it's on. Good to see everyone in the chat room. Good to see everyone. Today we're talking about authenticity in the game. Shout out to everyone who's listening. Hey, how was you guys' weekend? How are you guys doing? Man, what a great weekend this was. Great interview yesterday with AV Alpha Villains. Go back. The link should be, I'll be able to get the link to you. If you go to the channel, you'll be able to see the interview that was done with Alpha Villain. He asked some good questions about the state of the manosphere, about just my views on what's going on. It was actually a very, very good interview, very thorough, very professional. It was great. Good to see. Good content. So I was thoroughly impressed. And then the answers, I'm like, man, I don't even know where these answers came from, but they were within me. So you definitely want to go back and look at that. If you're watching for the first time, this is your first time. This is the thinking class when spirituality and the game combines. You have the thinking class. And if you don't get it, it is your own fault. To this week on Friday, just a reminder that it is my birthday. Let me say that again. I turned the big 50, turned 50 years old this week. Make sure, if you don't know about super chats, the super chats are cut off for this week because everything is going. We want to make sure we celebrate Lawrence D. Adams this week. And I want to make sure that you celebrate today, celebrate this week. But Friday is the big day. We're going to have, you know how we did it last year. Last year, we had a great time celebrating last year with the thinking class. So this week, today, we're talking about being authenticity in the game, celebrating yourself. We didn't get that all on the thumbnail because it was a lot, but I want to make sure we talk about that today, about being able to celebrate. What's going on, Hannibal? What's going on, bro? What's going on? About celebrating yourself and being authenticity in the game. No more fakes. No more fakes. So we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, waiting for everybody to get into the chat room. Shout out to my uncle who's be up in the clouds. It's funny. He's sharing with my mom. Hey, tell him to cut his mic off at the end. I know, Uncle. I know, Uncle Allen. I know the mic still is hot. I know. Believe me, it's a little inside joke between me and Jono why the mic is still hot. What's going on? What's going on, Blackjack? It's a little inside joke why the mic is still hot after we end the show. It's an inside joke. You know how you see at the end of the movies, and the movie has ended, but you hear things that you wouldn't normally hear at the end, and so that's the premise of it. So I know the mic is still hot. I know the mic is still hot. I know the mic is hot. Shout out to Uncle Allen. He listened in the clouds. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's good when your family supports you. So I appreciate that when your family supports you. But today we're talking about being authentic in the game, authenticity in the game. Woo, boy, this is, and we know we have certain definitions we use strictly on this broadcast. But I want to make sure if you didn't see this interview that I did with Alpha Villains, go to Alpha Villains page. You'll see me one-on-one with Alpha Villains and Lawrence D. Adams. Check that out. What's going on? I'll catch the replay. Good to see you, William. I appreciate that. Go back and see the replay on what that was. Go back and see the video that I did with Alpha Villains. You guys, let me know how you're doing today. This week, this is a good week for me. As in the words of Ice Cube, today is a good day. So we want to definitely get into the teaching. So when we talk about authenticity in the game, we first have to define game again for those who do not know. I am not talking about manipulation. I am not talking about trickery. I'm talking about the sense of game meaning strategies. Getting from one place to the next place, you got to have some kind of game. And a lot of people fight against the word game because they only look at the negative side of what game is. No matter where you are in life, no matter where you are in this world, you got to have some kind of maneuverability called game. You got to know how to deal with other people. That's called game. All it is being able to move in a social structure with other people to get what you want and they can get what they want. It's called game. We made it complicated. We made it dirty because we heard it in the streets. But you got to understand, everybody plays the game no matter what. I don't care who you are. I don't care your mama. I don't care if you're the Pope. I don't care if you are the preacher in the pulpit. At some level, you are playing the game, strategies to get people or get a situation to a certain point. So let's be very honest about it. The problem is most people don't want to be truthful about that they play the game, which is the whole purpose of this show, being authentic when it comes to the game. So what does being authentic mean? That means being genuine. What's going on? What's going on, my brother? What's going on, Kenosha? What does authentic mean? To understand authentic, we have to understand that something is not authentic. Have you ever seen Louis Vuitton purse next to a real Louis Vuitton purse? They look almost the same until you go inside, unzip the purse, and you look, it doesn't have the right lettering, and you can see that it's been stamped, is not very clear. There's different telltale signs to tell you the difference between a Louis Vuitton and what? Something that is fake. The game is the translation from each translation of each and every relationship in your life. Come on. Transaction, right? So let's keep it 100 here. So we know a difference between a Louis Vuitton that's real and a Louis Vuitton that is fake. If you ever been, I lived in New York, it's in the Bronx, and I lived in South River, New Jersey. You know, you go down 125th Street, you can find anything that you need on 125th Street, down to Chinatown. You can find all the things you need. It may look like it, but it's not the real thing. Let me say that again. In order for you to understand that something is authentic, you got to see when it's something that is not. So you got to be a comparison between the two. So when I was on 125th, I got some watches, I got some ring, I was looking for some, what's the name of them jeans? True Religion jeans. They were selling them like it was crazy there at the time I was living there and I was staying there. They had True Religion jeans. The True Religion jeans, oh man, it was everywhere. That's like, son, man, you can get these True Religions. They the real thing, man. I was like, what, for real? And I said, wait a minute, they got the Buddha on there. But they got the backwards hook, the backwards horseshoe. But I'm like, something ain't right. They got everything in it, but it ain't in it. So you got to know, in order for something to be authentic, you got to compare it to something that is not authentic. Yeah, we lived near Louis Vuitton never cut their logos. Right. See, you got it now. We remember China just sold fake ropes and back in the 80s. Right. So you realize you'll be able to tell when something is authentic when you look at something that is fake. Authentic things have a certain thread count. It has a certain threading. You can tell what something is authentic versus something fake. And it's funny because I'll be looking at, like I said, that Louis Vuitton purse versus that fake purse. What's going on, Joe Blast? Or like you said, back in the days, in the 80s, we used to have that Dookie gold chain, the big gold chains. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna go into the Oriental shop or go into the shop and get me a gold chain. By the time you wash what's going on, Tara? By the time you wash it, you go to take a shower, you got to take it off, and you get one. That thing can fade. I remember when I was the time I was dating my son's mother, and I went to Randall Park Mall. Anybody in Cleveland? I went to Randall Park Mall, and they had the gold chains there. So I wanted one. I wanted a big gold chains. What's going on, Sim? I wanted the gold chains. So I got me one and I got her one. So we walking down the street, we thought walking around the mall like, yeah, I got her a chain. I got me a chain. Man, that chain didn't last them more than 3 months. I took care of it. Don't get it wrong. I did take care of it, but it was gold plated. Let me say that again. It was gold plated. It was gold plated. When I looked real, when you took a picture, it was shining, but it was gold plated. That means at some level of wear and tear that the gold was going to chip off or was going to turn green, and especially around my neck. So I got us some gold plated what? Rings. I mean, not rings, but chains. I'm trying to think of the name of it. What kind of herringbones? That's what it was. Herringbones. That's what it was. I got some gold plated herringbones. I had one and she had one, and she was like, "Oh, that's my man. He got me a chain." Yeah. Couple months later, the chain was what? Kaboops. It wasn't no good. Then the claps wouldn't hook right. And it broke. I said, man, I ended up throwing that chain away. Then you try to go back and try to fix it. They say, man, you what you pay for, what you get. So my point of saying that it wasn't an authentic chain. It wasn't an authentic Louis Vuitton. It wasn't an authentic true religion. So I want you to get something. I want you to understand. I want you to understand. She said I was matching. Yeah, we were matching back there. Neck green Ninja Turtle, right? You guys know. Yeah, I had my little summer job and check for 12, and our Godfather took us to Chinatown. You thought y'all was doing something going there, but it's the truth of the matter is this. Just the truth of the matter. Just the truth of the matter. When you realize that there's something that is authentic and there's something that is fake. So when it comes to the interaction between human beings, male and females, job or whatever you're doing, there is something that are people that are faking as unreal as a gold chain, and then there's some people who are genuine or authentic when it comes to this game. My question is, are you the gold chain that is 14K, or are you the 14K gold plated? Are you the 14K gold because it's soft, or are you the 14K gold plated that will turn green after a couple times in the shower, out in the rain or in the snow, wherever in the sun, and then your neck is green, like you said, like the Ninja Turtle? You got to ask yourself that question. When it comes to the game, how authentic are you really in the game? Now, this is the thing. There has to be some comparisons. Authenticity is where the game is. Being a copy makes you a game sufferer, right? So if we were to put the gold plated and the 14K together, guess what would happen? Really, you couldn't tell the difference. I'm a diamond, not a Cuban zirconia, right? So this is the thing. Wow, see, y'all going in now. See, LDA, the game is deep too, because you can be authentic, led, and team. So I want to make sure we get this. I want you to make sure, in order for you to tell if something is authentic, many times you need to do a comparison, or they, like my mother would do a price check on it. Let me say this again. You have to, in order for the game, true, authentic game, it has to be a comparison. So the first thing that you look at, let's get this first thing out. In order for authentic, what's going on? I'm distracted by the cool hat. Thank you. I appreciate that. The first thing that must be looked at is this. In order for you to tell something is authentic or it is not an example of the gold chain and the gold plated chain or the diamond or the Rubicon cubic zirconia, is it must be tested by someone who has the eye to see the difference between something that is authentic and something that's not. I noticed when anybody been to a jeweler, the first thing they do is they take it to a person who's been trained to look at a diamond and see certain things to make sure that it's a diamond and that it is not a what? A fake. So you take it, appraiser, thank you. Hello, all Power Masters, thank you. Appreciate you, CNN TV. So is it authentic or is it not? So you take it to and they say, here's this diamond ring that I got. So he goes in the back and he gets this little glass thing and he looks at the clarity, the cut, if it has clouds. He looks at several things to make sure that it is authentically a diamond ring. The problem here on these YouTube streets and on different social media sites, people can present themselves as if they're diamonds, but when they're tested, you find out that they are cubic zirconia. It looks good, but it ain't real. It looks good, but it ain't real. There must be a test to see if this is the real game. So authenticity must, in order for something to find out if something is real, it must be tested. How many of you have seen people talk a good game, can articulate it, but when it comes down to it, guess what happened? They cannot stand the test. They cannot stand the test. Anytime you want to test whether something is real or not, or you want to find out something is real, you have to test it, or you have to put it in fire, or you have to put it through a series of tests to see, this is the real deal. If this is making sense to you, let me know in the chat room. Put a number 3 in the chat room. If this is resonating with you, put a number 3 in the chat room. Shout out to CCCN TV. Your contribution in the chat room is appreciate you, brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. So we got to see if this is real. It has to be a test. This is resonating with you. You got to put a test. There must be a test. In order for me to graduate from the 11th grade to the 12th grade, or to graduate out of high school, I had to take a test. So they know that authentically, I knew all the things I need to know to be in the 12th grade to go to college. Most people do not want to go to the test because their game can't stand up to the fire or stand up to the test. So here's the next question. Well, LDA, well, how do we test? How do we know? There needs to be some congruency in what they are saying and what they're not saying. There must be some congruency. See, when you authentic in the game, you're going to be tested. Now, most people think when I did that whole way I moved and everything, I'm just talking about street game. Baby, this game goes all the way up to a different stratosphere. This goes to the corporate game. This goes into a marriage. This goes into a relationship. This goes in with your, like Lavisha, I know she's in the fashion and model. It goes into there. They have to test to see if she can do the walk down the runway. There has to be a test. There's a difference between getting a cigar that is authentic or somebody just did something in the back room and they're rolling up something. There is a test. There is a standard. Next thing, in order for you to see if something's authentic, there must be a standard. Most people, when it comes to this game, or even the game itself, standard or strategy, there must be a standard. The Louis Vuitton purse and the fake Louis Vuitton purse you can get over in whatever street that you're on, or whose cousin is selling them around Christmas time and Thanksgiving time, there is a standard that is there that Louis Vuitton upholds. And if it does not meet that standard, it is not a Louis Vuitton. The same thing when it comes to a Rolls Royce. There's a difference between a Rolls Royce and a Pinto. Two different standards. I done rolled in the Pinto, and I have rolled in the back seat of a Rolls Royce. Baby, there's two different rides. Two different rides. Two different rides when it comes to a standard. Rolls Royce have a different standard than what? That of the Pinto. If you don't know what a Pinto is, go and look at it. A Yugo. And we get another car. Escort. Y'all, some of y'all had them Escorts. There's a different ride, different standard. So in order to tell us something is authentic, you need to do a test and you need to look at the standard on which it is tested. So when it comes to this game, this lifestyle, living this way, how can you stand the test, and do you have a standard? You can tell. You can tell. You can tell who can stand the test and who is authentic. If you were to take that herringbone gold chain and you dip it in the acid, one's gonna fail and the other one is going to what? It's going to disintegrate. That's the difference between authentic, being authentic. So what does that come down to you? Because this ain't about nobody else, ain't about LDA, ain't about nobody in the chat room. It's about you. In order to see if you're authentic in the game, where have you been tested? Now, this is the thing. Testing is one thing, but testing in what you know. My uncle was in the chat room. If he's listening in the class, he'll tell you. In order to go to the white, in order to go to the next level of belt, I think it's white belt to yellow belt, there had to be a test given to check if I was authentically ready to go to be a yellow belt. I have to learn how to do the kata. I had to learn how to do certain things, kicks and punches and all that. See, what happens is when it comes to this game, it has been so blanket that no one has a standard or a test to see if you even qualify to say what you need to say. Because most people, let me cut through the chase. Most people are copying or are repeating what they heard and not what they lived. If I'm lying, I'm flying. Joe Blash, you're so right. I'm about to get right to that. Membership habits period. Y'all join the monthly membership. It's worth it. Some people don't even know that their own authenticity. Great. Because some people are so used to being fake. They have, and I'm talking to someone. They have so made a life of them being fake. I want to make sure I get this up. I want to honor this because I seen something. When I seen something in the chat room, I'm going to make sure I get it. Where is it at? Let me find it. Prayers up to you, brother. Just my brother right here. Prayers up to him. Go all the way back. Prayers up to you. Y'all don't need to know. Just prayers up. Make sure y'all put prayers up to Rick. Put prayers up to Rick. Prayers up to Rick. Some people have made a whole life of being fake, being disingenuine, being something that they are not. Make sure we get the prayers up for Rick. That's my dog, who has some real game. But some people and then social media has given them the tool to what? To be even more fake. Let me say that again. Social media has given them the tool for them to be even more fake. Social media, they flexing, they got you got the money on there, they with the women, and secretly they living a fake. They don't even live that life. They are disingenuine. They are disingenuine because they fake. And after a while, like my grandmother, Gramel, would do, she'll ask you to tell me what happened again. Shout out to my grandmother. May she rest in peace. She'll ask me what happened again. And what she'll do is she'll have you go over the story 3 or 4 times to see if you say it 3 or 4 times the same way to see if you're telling the truth. Because we have so many people who are so convinced that they're diamonds, thank you, but they're really fakes. Because the first thing they can't stand the test. Second of all, they have no standard. They spewing things that they have not lived. The problem is when you become a fake, all you're going to attract is fake people. I don't care how much people say, I'm keeping it 100. I'm keeping it real with you guys. You a fake too. Because if you gotta announce that I'm keeping it real and I'm keeping it 100 with you, how you don't, and when you are the real deal, you never say anything. Little hint, hint. I'm just saying. When you are authentically yourself, you don't need to announce yourself. Your presence speaks for itself. Let me say that again. When you are in your authenticity as an individual, as a man, as a woman, you don't need to announce yourself. Your presence speaks before you even come in a room. That's the real game. Then when you open your mouth and you begin to let go of verbs and nouns and adjectives and pronouns, guess what happens? It begins to speak for itself. The problem is a lot of people want to put on a lot of icing on the cake that already tastes good. Authenticity is when you come completely comfortable in who you are and your evolution. Because some people get so comfortable in themselves, they don't want to evolve. When you become what? You become authentic in who you are. Don't forget Friday's my birthday. Or the pressure of the diamond under the pressure. Yes. Although some people like these enjoy the trolls, YouTubers actually showing the authentic symbols. Yep. You right. Right. You can see who, when you are your authentic self, something you can have on khakis, you can have on a suit, but your authentic self will always reveal you. Remember, the suit don't make the man makes the suit. The dress don't make the woman makes the dress. And the reason why I'm saying this, because I want you as listeners to understand that the game that we're talking about is for you to be authentically who you are. This is just the first day. I'm just taking the gloves off a little bit. We ain't going to go too far with this. I'm not going to take it all the way there, but we got to test to see, can you, like Lavisha said, can you stand the pressure? See, a diamond is not made inside of a laboratory. A diamond is made, what? Under the pressure of life. Thank you, Lavisha. The diamond is made under pressure. It's not made in someone's laboratory and say, hey, we got a diamond. We're going to put it out there for you. Let me say this too. Oh, just in time. Boy, tell you about all right, Tedder. What's going on, John?
What's going on?
Man. We're talking about authenticity in the game. And you know when something is authentic. You from Brooklyn, right? You got the Brooklyn hat on. So you know about Chinatown, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a difference between true religions from Chinatown and true religions that are at Saks.
You're talking about Canal Street. You're talking about in the fashion district.
Hey.
You know, you get caught up in that wholesale game.
So, but in order, a normal prospect would not know the difference between the true religion genes if they didn't see the first authentic ones versus the ones that are sold on Canal Street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What they're hoping for is people to come in from out of town who are going to go into the, tertiary neighborhoods where they could sell them at the regular price, but not be the authentic ones. And hopefully the people haven't, don't know the difference between the tags and the threads and the different ways to identify authentic material.
I got caught up over there.
Sneakers now too.
Oh, they do sneakers too? Oh shoot. I got caught up. I was on Canal Street with somebody we both know. And then I ended up selling him a watch. I ended up selling him a watch. He said, "Oh man, thanks." I like, "Thanks a lot too." Hey, it happens. But this is the thing when we talk about being authentic in the game, you got to be able to tell the difference between something that is real and something that is fake. And if you don't have the trained eye, you'll fall victim to what? Any game that's given out there because it has never been tested to see if it's authentic.
Yeah, I think we have a big problem when it comes to taking everybody at their word. And what happens is you got to have substance behind that word. And when you have substance, it means there's not just the instruction, it's also the passion behind your experience. And you should be able to detect the passion behind somebody's experience who's trying to tell you a story or give you instruction. What we do is we just listen and we think, oh, the person spent some money on their production. They spent their money on making things look good. They got the flashy vehicles or the flashy background, the flashy, setup. But when it comes to authenticity, you could literally look like a bum on the street, but you could have the right word in your mouth, and somebody should be able to detect that their story is true. I would rather have somebody have instruction that has wisdom behind it rather than book knowledge. And you could tell when somebody's book smart, because when you tell them how you apply those lessons that you're trying to give me right now, they really can't tell you the experience.
Uh-oh. So wait a minute. So you're saying the first thing is we need to see if it can be tested. And then the next thing we said is what you're saying is there must be some experience about what you're talking about. Application.
Exactly. Anybody tells you, say you want to go in business and you start talking to business owners. If they tell you, oh, we have a perfect amount of money waiting for our reserves. Oh, we've never had any financial trouble. Oh, we've always have a full inventory. Oh, we always have our payments done on time. I would run away from that person right away. You know why? Because that's not how anybody started their business out. Some people, if you think about it, first of all, 75 to I think the statistics is even higher now. I'll say 85% of businesses fail in the first year.
Oh, it does, yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing, you're taking your licks and your risks in the very beginning. So if somebody don't got one of them stories where they say, "Oh man, I did not know what I was getting into," it was my first time, and this is what happened. People learn over time in their experiences. I don't care if you had the best instructor. I don't care if you got the best mentor. They did exactly what you do. Your experience is unique. So you're going to see that you're going to have war stories. You're going to have wounds. You're going to have scars that taught you and made sure that you are steered in the right direction. And a lot of people who can't tell you that, they just tell you, oh, do this, do that. They're making sure you take the risk instead of the risk coming up from the experience from that person. So it's very important that you do that first. I got to take this.
Yeah, it is my son. Sorry about that. My son was saying something too. Go ahead. So so this is the thing. There must be experience about what they're saying. I like what Blackjack said, because he said something very, very key right here. Are the real authentics required to remain authentic to the unauthentic? No. No, not at all. Not at all. See, the problem is we have people who are saying things with no experience at all. Let me say that again. We have people who are saying things with no experience, or there may be validity in what they're saying, but there's no depth in what they're saying. Let me say that again. There may be validity in what they're saying, but there's no depth. There's no weight to what they're saying. So does that make them authentic? Very good question. So what you're saying, Blackjack, is it levels to this authenticity? Yes, there is levels to this authenticity. It is determined on how far do you really want to go. There's depths, there's weight to being authentic. And what happens is we have a lot of people who are comfortable, and I'm going to get this point right here, bring it right here. We have a lot of people who are comfortable in being fake because they've been shunned or put down for being their authentic self. They've been told that it is not right for them to be their authentic self, that if they be their authentic self, someone's going to judge them. Someone's going to put them down. Someone's going to say that they're a clown. So they never really embrace being their authentic self. They never embrace being their authentic self. My question to you today, have you really, don't play about with this question. Have you really embraced your authentic self? And let me go a little bit further. Have you embraced your authentic voice, who you are? Or are you going around being a people pleaser so people can like you? Have you really embraced your authentic self? Have you, I'm asking a question to you, the listeners watching, whoever you are in the clouds, have you really embraced your authentic self? Or have you been putting on the coat of being fake? Have you really embraced your authentic self? Have you played small when you should have been playing large? Have you really taken on the thoughts and say, you know what, LDA, Jono, everybody in the chat room, I ain't been authentic. I've been faking it and try to make it instead of being authentic and then making it. Have you been truly authentic to yourself and those around you? Or have you been cheating the world because you have not been authentic? And I'm here to tell you, many of you, I have too, been cheating the world, but not being your authentic self. Thank you, Joe Blast. I've been a people pleaser, pleather jacket. Come on, you ain't the only one. I don't care about nobody else. I don't care who's watching, what they think. Have you been that Louis Vuitton from the Louis store, or have you been that Louis from Canal Street in New York? Have you really embraced who you are? And let me put a little spin on there, and evolving into who you are. Or have you play yourself little because everyone around you have used to seeing you be little? See, a lot of people are disingenuous when it comes to this game, and they have not been authentically who they are. They have not completely embraced themselves. Thank you, Blackjack, man. Dude, man, I got to give you some. There are times of authenticity in my life, and there are times I've been myself with knowledge of the consequences. I think I hated the feeling of unauthenticity. Dude, if that was a true, if anybody right there, y'all need to shout out Blackjack, because that is complete honesty at its core. Let me read there. There are times of authenticity in my life, and there are times I've been myself with the knowledge of the consequences. I think I hated the feeling of unauthenticity. Yes, many are very uncomfortable with it. It took some time for me to stop trying to please people. I have played myself down to make others feel comfortable. You have, I want you to really digest this. Shout out to Blackjack. That was the most, see, the reason why I'm saying, I'm not trying to downplay the women at all, but I want to make sure for a man to say, hey, bruh, this is what it is. Openly. That was the most authentic thing that you can ever do, is to be honest with yourself, because everything else is just an illusion. This guy I know named Lawrence D. Adams wrote this book called, and in the chapter 1, it says, be honest with yourself first, because everything else is just an illusion. So when I think about Lawrence, when he wrote that book, I was like, wow, that's pretty good, Lawrence D. Adams. You wrote a book that says, be honest with yourself first, because everything else is just an illusion. For a man to say, there has been times when I have not been authentic with myself and those around me. And there's been times when I have been authentic with others, and I understand the consequences, but I hate the feeling of being disingenuous or unauthentic. There starts the process of the real game. If a person can't tell you that they've been disingenuous or not been authentic at some point or time, you need to watch them. That's in the book that I don't know where that book is that Lawrence D. Adams wrote, but Lawrence D. Adams wrote this nice guy. I know him personally. He wrote a book, and I'm going to read that again. It says, be honest with yourself first, because everything else is just an illusion. He wrote that in the book, chapter 1, actually. Chapter 1, he wrote that in the book. I don't even know where the book is, but he wrote that in the book. He said, be honest with yourself first, because everything else is just an illusion. Everything else is just an illusion. So to be authentic in the game, you need to be completely unadulterated, honest with yourself. I like when Lawrence said that. Lawrence, he's a smart guy. I think he knows something. Lawrence knows. I worked with him before, but Lawrence D. Adams wrote that in the book, chapter 1, be honest with yourself first, because everything else is an illusion. So this takes it to the next level with authenticity in the game, is knowing that you have to get past theory into practicality. I'm giving too much today. Let me say that again. You have to go past theory of the game into practicality of the game. We all can philosophize about the game. Matter of fact, I enjoy it. It's very good. I enjoyed the going back and forth, the debates, and you said this and I said that, and you think this way and I think that way. We all can philosophize, sit and chew the fat about the game, but it is when it becomes the practical side, when you have to execute, is when your game is tested if it's authentic or if it's not. We have a lot of people who philosophize about life, tell you this and tell you that, but they ain't lived nothing because it has not been practically lived in their life. You can't tell me about making cakes and pies if you never stirred up you never put flour into a pan so it wouldn't stick. There's a difference from theory and there's a difference from practicality. I wonder if you read the book, 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. I don't know. I may have read it. It might be in my library right now. But let me say that again. Anybody can say, yeah, I made the best bakeries. I make pies, cakes, and chicken. I make all this. And then when the reality of it is, you find that they don't know what they're doing. Disingenuous, and they're not being authentic. You need to be honest with yourself first. I know it seems like I'm going all over the place, but I know what I'm talking about. Oh boy. Oh, you talking about dating coaches that fall in love with the IG? Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun. Are you talking about dating coaches falling in love with IG models? But you got game from the Himalayas. You got game from the Himalayas. Either you sniffing that Himalaya salt or you really got game. See, your game should be lived out, if it's authentic, should be lived out practically. And we're going to cover this week, and I'm saying so much today because I got so much to give. Your game is that authentic. It should be producing wealth. Not wealth, results. I didn't say wealth. I'm thinking about money. Wealth, results. Let me say that again. If your game is so authentic and it's so precise and it's tight and it's right, it should have some kind of results. There should be some measurable results that what you're talking about is the real thing. I'm just saying, John, I know I'm saying a lot today, man. I don't know why. I'm just pouring out.
You know why? I think it's because this is a subject that's been built up for a long time. A lot of times we don't, like you just said the word measurement, which I think is extremely important. Mm-hmm. Okay. Just because somebody has said what they think is true and they don't have the quantified or measured result of what you're talking about, they can't really tell you the experience in the game. I've had some major challenges even in the last few weeks, mm-hmm. but I could tell that my experience is definitely quantified in that same situation, because as the anxiety builds up about some of those challenges, I have the confidence to actually go through some of the things, even though it is not altogether a sure thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not every experience you're going to go through, you're going to have the experience of. So what happens is you have to build on your past experiences to give a chance for the new experience to have its day. And what I'm noticing is that, although some territory is uncharted, You use the experience of some of your past situations to help guide you along the way. And like I said, I'm going through some stuff right now I've never had to go through before in my life, but it's understandable to be frustrated. It's understandable to be, but what I realize is don't be a quitter. Okay, a lot of
whoa,
people who give up fast, they're not authentic in the situation. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be cut and dry. You ever heard that? It's not cut and dry. It's not some like, soup ready for me to eat. No, it's supposed to be challenging to you so that you can learn.
So that brings right to what I was saying to Blackjack. There's levels to this authenticity.
Yeah, it has to be. You know why? Because if you don't understand that you have plateaued when you're comfortable, you've plateaued, and the mountain is still in front of you. You're supposed to keep going up. When you're in the plains, your enemy can see you easily. When you have a higher ground, you have the advantage. And guess what? The only way you can do that is to be honest with yourself about where you're going. That's the only way you can prove authenticity, is if it's honesty.
John, you weren't even here, and I said that some guy. I think you know this guy. His name is Lawrence D. Adams. I think you may know him. He wrote a book.
I heard of him before.
He wrote this book, and he said in chapter 1, I'm repeating it again for those who didn't hear it the first time, but he said, be honest with yourself first, because everything else is just an illusion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true. What I was told was face everything. Face it all. If you had trouble with the bank, you face it. When you had trouble with the utility company, you face it. When you had trouble with the brokers, face it. Don't try to run from it. You try to run from it, then they think you're inauthentic. You may not have the money. You may not have the solution, but face it. If you face it, you're being authentic. You're being honest. And what happens is your honesty will open a door sometimes that your worry and your stress and your anxiety can't open for you.
That's good right there, man.
Give yourself the space of at least being present. I learned that from one of the bishops that I used to follow that taught me about servanthood and mentorship. You remember him, Bishop Berrien?
Yeah,
he taught me. He said, listen, don't ignore the calls. Answer every call. Because at some point, your mind and your routine is going to get so used to dealing with issues, you're going to have a solution every time. He used to tell me, put on the desk a pile of to be paid. Don't try to hide your bills. Put on the desk a pile of to be paid, even if you don't have the money. And what'll happen is you will subconsciously prepare to pay each one of those. But when you hide it in the drawer and you throw it in the garbage, you're not prepared to pay it. So you're not being honest about what you owe. That makes you inauthentic. What you should be doing is preparing to take care of it. The Bible says that I prepare a table is prepared for you to sit there with. I'm preparing a place for you to sit there. And the reason why I say the enemy is the thing that you think is against you. But sometimes the enemy is yourself. Okay, so when a table is prepared for your enemy, sometimes you're really sitting across the table from yourself, ready to deal with something you're ignoring. I prepare a place on the table with my enemies, but it also says, thou art with me. Thou art with me means you have help. You have discernment. You have the presence of the Creator with you, and you're supposed to move with it. And the only way you can do this is if you have a level of honesty with it. If you're always running away from something, you're not being authentic. You're not being honest with yourself. I'm telling you, it happened. I'm not kidding. It happened just now on the phone. I just went on a phone call and just solved another problem that would have cost me thousands of dollars. You know, you call up and you call up and they have these things with the automation and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And the automation thing didn't establish what I initially scheduled. So I had to go talk to a person.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of waiting for letters and stuff to come in the mail, sometimes you got to talk to a person and be honest with them and tell them what's going on. And this person made a better arrangement with me than what the automated system did. I wasn't supposed to be talking to a computer. I should have been more open to speaking with a human, thinking they weren't going to understand my situation. It just happened on the phone here. It could have cost me $3,000 on the 16th. Oh, that was only 2 days from now. Now I don't have to worry about even a piece of it for 2 years. That's what you got to do. You have to put yourself in a position to receive the favor if you don't have the wherewithal. But you got to be present. You got to be authentic, and you got to be honest with yourself. I'm telling you, it literally just happened on the phone just now. I was waiting for that phone call. I said, I got to take this call.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm looking for miracles like that all over the place because I have to do a lot of different moves in the very near future. So I need for the game we talking about, I need all my players to be straight up with me.
Yeah.
They need to be good at their craft. They got to be authentic, and they got to have skill sets beyond what I can do. If you can't do better than me, I don't want you on my team.
Y'all better get this game today.
You want to be authentic? Realize you're not perfect and hire somebody better than you. I was always told by another mentor, hire your weakness.
That's what he said.
I'm not a good editor, so you introduced me to a wonderful editor, and he's knocking stuff out. You're going to start seeing content going up. But you know what? I can't do that unless I was introduced to somebody and had to humble myself and be authentic and be honest and say, I'm not good at that part. Let somebody who can do it, do it.
Come on.
It did it fast, efficient, and cost effective. That's the right way to do it. And shout out to the editor.
Shout out to the editor because he be in the clouds listening. He messaged me this morning. Okay, what about this? Shout out to the editor. Just the thing though, if we were disingenuous, Jono, would the editor ever showed up?
No, because he's a cool person and he's straight up. If you're not straight up, the universe don't even want to match you up with that person. You shady, guess what? The universe like, oh, you're shady. Let's match you up with the shady people. And you start wondering, why is the universe matching me up with that? See, now y'all don't want to deal with something very important. Some of y'all dealing with shady people right now and don't realize it's all you. Had nothing to do with that person.
It's not me. It's them.
You want to sit in denial and act like you didn't have that spirit inside you first.
I'll
give you something very simple. When you roll up to the street light, there's 3 possible lights, right?
Mm-hmm.
The red light, the yellow light, and the green light. The lights can be all shown at the same time, but the way the traffic light works is only showing you one of them at a time. So here's how you can let in the inauthentic or the person that could take you for a ride. You're showing the wrong light at the time you attract it.
Come on, that's good.
See, you have the possibility of being the best version of yourself or the weakest version of yourself. It just depends on what kind of light you show. And if you are showing the wrong light, you're attracting the wrong thing towards you. And guess what? That thing becomes in your orbit instead of the thing you're supposed to have. So even though you can emit positivity or negativity or even stay neutral, some of you stay in the negative mode and attract what would hurt you instead of turning on the correct light and get into the positive mode. Tell me they ain't gonna fly off somebody's head.
We just did it. I don't know if they was on Spirit or they was American Airlines, but some people might have been on Spirit on that one.
So the comments just stop.
Right. They were on Spirit, Jono. Shout out to Spirit.
Some of y'all paid more for your luggage than your own seat.
Oh. Gotta walk away on that one. Woo! It's the truth.
You're like, how you know what we paid on Spirit? $69, 2 bags, $200.
$200.
Look,
It went right over your head because you have not been authentic with yourself. Honesty, man. Honesty. I gave the example of my grandmother, Bertha L. McCall. I said earlier what she would do, what Grandma would do. She asked you to tell the story how many times? 3 or 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happened, little? I said, well, Granny, I went down the street in the bicycle and my bike ran into the car. Really? Tell me what happened again. Well, it went into the what had happened. The car went into the bike. Tell me what happened again. Then finally I said, look, Grandma, hey. She's looking to see if I'm going to be honest.
It's true. If it really was your story, you can recollect it with enough detail. The human mind does mix some stuff up. That's why they always say my story, your story, and then the truth. So
right.
What happens is, but you can recall a lot better if you actually were recalling the truth.
All right. I wasn't telling the truth. Grandma got me.
And it takes a skilled interviewer or interrogator, as they would say, to really weed out the people being inauthentic because they don't understand the truth. They only want to make the truth their own.
Oh, wait till we get to Women's Wednesday. You messed up right now. You didn't messed up. You said, yeah. I knew I messed up when Grandma started asking me 3 or 4 questions. She'd do, this is her signature thing. She'd ask you and she'd put her head down like this. I said, 2 things are happening. She's listening and she's praying.
She's like, Lord, don't let me kill this child.
Little boy, who you think you fooling?
Testing my nerves.
Oh boy, Papa, he on another. Papa did something different, boy. I just said forget it. Just tell Papa the truth because he had them big leather belts. I don't know he had big leather belts. I'm like, what? He had them 1970s, 1960 belts. I said, and he always hung it up in his bedroom. I said, you know what? Just what happened, Papa? I didn't answer the phone, so I just ended up telling the truth. I was being authentic.
So I wear one of those belts, but you know what? What I do first is I commit my children to an open line of communication, and I help them earn every minute they have. There's always opportunity to earn. There's always opportunity to communicate with me. If you get on my bad side, you lose a lot, and it don't have to get physical ever. You lose so much. You wish you can go. You feel so sorry. You gotta go in the room and just cry. Daddy's the one getting you. Anytime you feel like you're gonna eat out, Daddy's the one that's got you every time you want to try and make a couple of extra dollars. He even got clients that he introduces you to make sure that you get some extra money even on the side, teaching you how to have. He's got your debit card. He's got your cell phone. You really want to mess with Daddy? You really want to mess with Daddy? You gotta be. I have one brother that it didn't matter what consequence you had, he was shut down, and I was to this day he has that same mentality. But what I train my kids is you build on trust, you build on relationship. It's not just something that's absolute. I'm not a dictator, but what you are gonna do is what my mom used to say: you're gonna lose my support.
Yeah.
And when my mom says I don't support that, it used to cut like a knife. Because I knew she would. I knew what she put into everything she did support, and if she don't support it, like my mom never had to hit me. I think she hit me once my whole life, maybe once or twice. I got slapped. But she would say the words, "I don't support that." It was like she disappeared. She did what they do nowadays called ghosting you.
She wasn't even a word.
She stopped talking to you for a little while.
Yeah, John, I'm sorry. I'm not saying I was a bad kid. I got a couple backhand slaps from my mother. And
believe me, if that ever happened in my house, something's up. It probably wasn't even you.
I remember the backhands. I remember we were laughing at my sister ain't watching. We were laughing at her. And me and my brother were laughing at her, and we were out in public, and we were cracking up. I'm like maybe on the ground rolling or whatever. We was at Richard Mall, and my mother went, You know, I ain't gonna say what happened to my sister, but it was hilarious because I don't want to embarrass her, but it was hilarious. But guess what we learned? Don't ever cross Mona L. Her backhand was, I don't know where she got it from.
I don't remember if it was 11 or 12. I knew my mom was mad when she went in my room and she took all my stuff out that I liked. She took my stereo, she took my TV, she took everything. She said, "You can't have nothing." And she made, and you know she's mad when she gets my big brother. You haven't met him yet. When my big brother came in there, he was like a jailer. You had like the basics. You didn't even have he took the nice clothes away too. Like you couldn't even have no took all the name brand stuff away. You wearing Lee's and some Nike Ring Runners. I was like, my brother found a way to punish me in ways that it was like capital punishment. You thought you were in the jail. Like your audio went out. But see, it's one of those things that we have to always realize that if you know who you're dealing with, that's the authentic self of that person. And you know it's going to be no nonsense. I try to be the most authentic person I can be. Even when I don't tell them everything, I'm showing how I protected you from something that you probably would have been traumatized by. I'm learning that right now. I could see why there was a lot of conversations that my parents had, and they said, "Go in the other room." I could see why I had people around me that was like, "Oh, well, the reason why they did this is because they love you." I'm like, wait, they love you? Why didn't you tell me? It's none of your business.
Yeah.
Maybe to be the most authentic person of you is to shut up and don't bring it up. Because the way you deal with stuff, and I hope I'm talking to somebody I really like. There's some people out there really listen to this part. Sometimes if you being you was the one that normally was you, and you don't get the proper response that you should get, sometimes you got to stay the way out of something. Because the way you deal with something, the person don't take it in a positive light, even if you have the best intentions.
Yeah.
But what I can also say is where you do apply, you should, do your best effort. You're not going to be able to change the world, but at least you can affect the ones who do adhere to that type of communication.
Yeah. Man, definitely. Yeah. Just Blackjack hit it right on the mental whoopings last longer than physicals. But the physicals nurse at the time. Yeah, dude. My
brother used to whip my behind, but those things never stuck in me. It was more of a fear thing. But my mom and my dad, I remember my dad would just go like this and close his eyes, and then walk away. I'm like, that cut like a knife.
But to die.
When he stops talking to you, it wasn't the lecture that was the hardest. It was when he stopped talking. And he turned away, and he said, "I have nothing else to say." Because my dad was a Eucharistic minister. He had a lot to say. And when he said something, it was he would take his time because he would write, he would practice, he would put his thoughts down. When my dad wrote you a letter, it was like poetry. So when he decided, I'm not going to talk to you, it's like I gave up on this situation. You're gonna have to figure it out on your own. And I felt alone at that moment.
Dude, man, y'all better get this game. You think it's just we're talking to somebody. Dude, my father, he said he had a gold chair. One of them 70s gold chairs, sort of plush a little bit. And he said, "Larry, Michael, come downstairs. I heard you haven't been cleaning your room. Your mom called me at work and said you haven't been cleaning the room. You ain't listening to her." I have, and since I already knew the phone call was already going to happen, what I magically did, I can say this now that I'm almost 50, magically I hid the belts. I said, "Mike, don't worry about it. I'm going to hide the belts." So he'll come in, get something to drink. No, he'll tell my brother, "Go get me something to drink." My brother would go get the drink. He said, "Where'd you get this out the toilet? It's so cold. Why did you get it so fast?" I'm like, "Oh, shit, we about to die." So he come back. So tell me what happened. So he do the same thing, and then he start talking and talking and talking and talking. And your mother said y'all ain't doing this. Y'all got shoes in here and this and this and this and that. Go get the belt. So which one you want to do? You want to go on punishment or get the belt? So I look at Mike, man, we negotiating right there between the belt or going outside and playing. I said, man, I said, Dad, I'll just take the belt. I'll get a whooping. Okay, go get the belt. So we go upstairs. And Dad can't find the belt. Then he asked my mother, you seen the belt? I ain't seen the belt. So all the time we stalling. We wringing our hands stalling. And finally said, that's right, I got a belt on right here.
Exactly. I was thinking about to say, like, he wearing a belt.
But he had a special belt for us. All right, okay. He said, go upstairs. So we go upstairs. I mean, that was the longest walk, Jono. Up the stairs to our bedroom, and the door closed. And I don't know where my sister was. She probably was looking like, oh, they about to get it. So we ended up saying, all right, so this famous line was, I don't do this because I don't love you. I do this because I love you. I said, man, I'm looking at Mike. I said, so who?
I'm a little confused.
Right. I'm like, this ain't kind of love I want. But what we didn't know was that the window was open and our friends was outside.
Oh no.
So he got and then my father had a speech impediment, a slight speech impediment, so he would stutter. But magically, he began to stutter when it was time to get us. I told you not to do this room. I was like, every noun, verb, thank you. And then
you're getting more licks because he's stuttering.
But this the part that got to us. He said, wipe your face, go downstairs, go outside.
Oh no. So you had to face the music out there too?
Man, I heard you crying out. That was you. I said,
man.
no, that was Mike, man. That was Mike. That wasn't me. He said, no, I heard you, man. That was you crying. I'm like, no, man, I ain't crying. My dad don't be doing that to me. No, Mr. A got you. You were crying. And that right there, you and I'm making light of it because I still remember the situation, but it taught me the importance of first being honest with my father and my mother, and also taught me the importance of there's consequences for not being genuine and doing what you need to do.
Yeah. We all have that. And I'm not going to say it's a struggle, but I say the word challenge because sometimes you have to play a character to deal with certain people in your life. You know that there's that one person that when they call you up, they're going to go, hey, so what you doing? You got to tell them, listen, I'm busy right now. I really can't. And you're not being authentic. You're like, you just know you could be spending your time doing better. You haven't faced that person and say, hey, listen, you waste a lot of my time. Don't call me.
Right.
Because you haven't said that, you don't want to hurt their feelings. You are being inauthentic by taking the time up in both your schedules to even shorten the call. Sometimes we have to just decide to be the most honest self we can. It's not going to happen in every situation. It's not. No. But if you take the small ones and clean up the small situations, you could take on the bigger challenges because you won't be trying to micromanage a bunch of inauthentic small situations.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Hey, Uncle Alan got on me and you, Jono.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Uncle Alan said, hey, tell him to turn the mics off when they get the camera, when the show ends.
Oh, we've been getting that all the time, man.
Uncle Alan.
I remember to do that.
Right. Uncle Alan told my mother, he said, hey, tell him to turn the mics off. The mic's still hot when the cameras go up. I went, oh, really?
You heard some hot mic talk.
And Uncle Alan, I know you listen to Closet if you listen to Dare or Not. Now, I ain't forgot you got me too, buddy. He had a bamboo stick. I think, oh my, I said, man, it make it look like I was a bad kid. I wouldn't want to say I was a bad kid. I was just mischievous and sneaky. To being honest.
I don't think there's anything as good as bad, but I tell you, the lessons you learn, even without getting a physical lick, sometimes the situation kicks you mentally.
Yes.
I would tell you this: you definitely learn from a lot of lessons that you had, whether they had either one of those type of situations,
Right.
because you could tell by how far you've come. Okay, some of you never got a behind whipping, and you're still in your 40s and your 50s trying to figure out adulthood. Some of you never got disciplined. Some of you never got taught. You was sitting in a plastic bubble your whole life, in relationships, in money, in family, and everything else. You spent your whole time in a bubble, and you're just now learning your lessons in your late 40s, trying to figure out life. Because whether you know it or not, when you pass the 49-year mark, your life starts over. You become a baby again. And what happens is you start to learn how to do things in a new justification of the experience of the first 49 years. And that's a whole cosmic thing. We didn't get into that yet. Maybe on one of the Patreon ones we do. But I'll tell you this, when you start in the next 50 years, next 49 years, which is after the 49th year, what happens is you're a new person. You're reborn. And you better have taken the experiences and the hardships from the first 49 and move it. So it's not no mistake that your birthday's coming up this week, because you are actually starting your first year.
That's right. I'm starting over again. My new year starts on March 18th, this Friday, right before St. Patty's Day. How about that?
Even St. Patty's on Thursday?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, so your solar return is literally that night.
Yeah, that night. Midnight. Yeah. But man, this has been good. We got to cut it. Uncle Alan, we're going to cut the mics off today, okay, Uncle Alan? I know you. I want you.
We can't help it if we have technical difficulties.
Yeah, I can't push the button fast enough. I ain't even got the music queued up, man. Where the music queued up? I even got the thing. You know what? And there, if you notice, there's no super chat this week. Straight Cash App. No super chats. Straight Cash App. If you enjoyed this broadcast today, I don't know why we got into whoopings, but I guess somebody needed a whooping. But mentally,
listen, if you're authentic, then what you should do is celebrate LTA in this week the most possible way, because the authenticity that we bring forward in the show here has definitely changed your life. So absolutely think about what you can do for LDA in this week. I appreciate you, brother, being a part of our situation and making sure that there's a platform for people to learn. Yeah. I salute you for that. Seriously.
I appreciate that, man. I was thinking about that today, man. Man, I was thinking about how far we have grown since the first time meeting in Atlanta to looking at now. Mm-hmm. I just looking, wow, the evolution of how and then the camaraderie and the conversations behind the scenes. I appreciate it, man. I completely appreciate it. I thank you. You would put the fire under me many times and still do. The pot's still boiling, but it's needed, because I'm look at where it's a song we used to sing in church. Look where he's brought me from. And it made me think of that song. Look where he's brought me from. I can't remember the rest. I can hear it. I can hear the old people singing it. But look where he's brought me from. And I can truly say that this week. I can say, God, I thank you for look where you brought me from. I wasn't always this way. I wasn't always polished.
Hey, and who's to say silver in a case will always still need to be polished at some point? You can't just put the best valued part of you away. Yeah. You should always have it in use and have it shining for everyone to see, so that they can learn the example of being who you want to be.
Yeah. Because I had to. We talking about being. It's funny that it would be authenticity on the week of my birthday, because we'll talk about that tomorrow.
So the mic's ain't on.
Yeah, sure. Uncle Alan to get me. We're gonna let this one. I'm just gonna let this one ride. This is excellent, excellent one today. This is outro, right? Yeah, outro. We're gonna let this music rock. Let me see, Uncle Alan. Uncle Alan, we love you. We love you, Alan.
Inside all this tension,
Yeah, John.
Oh, the camera's off.
Yeah. I love it, man. This has been a good. I can't wait till tomorrow to share more about being authentic, because this is definitely about being honest. A lot of people are not honest with themselves first, but they want everybody else to be authentic.
Hey, some people, if they want the honest truth, all they gotta do is look at their results.
I said that earlier. I tell you, boy. Oh boy. Shout out to everybody. If you missed that broadcast, we are. Oh shoot, what am I thinking about? I did it again.
Uncle Alan's coming for you with the belt.
I know Uncle Alan he gonna get that bamboo stick he got me when I was a kid. I forgot about that, Uncle Alan. I make it look like I was a bad kid, man. we gotta end it. Wait, we're gonna click here to end. Oh, okay.